like living with Carrie?
Well, that's a loaded question, but
Yeah. Give me a loaded answer.
well, it's actually pretty extraordinary. Just from the years that I've met her and known her
11.
and lived with her and have been married to her, we seem to have gone through so many things together. Initially as a couple, and having to first, like when we first got married. Even when we were dating, she never really told me what she had, her psychic ability. She kind of used to throw things at me, and I used to just like listen to her and think, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. She's got women's intuition.
When you say throw things at you, you don't mean like literally throw something at you. You mean she would throw some information
Maybe
at you.
sometimes we're mad. But,
Well, like there was times where she would say, it's like, your mom has maybe an illness, or your mom's this, or your grandmother is this. And I'd be like, okay. And I would like put it in the back of my head and just shake it off and not worry about it. And then what would happen, like 2 or 3 months down the road, whatever she said usually came true or came to fruition, which actually started like, wow, she really's got a good women's intuition, that's for darn sure. So it started that way at first.
right.
And even when we were dating, she lived in North Arlington, New Jersey, and I lived up in a different part of Jersey, and we were dating, and what happened was I had a place I rented, a home, and one day Carrie just said, there is a spirit in this house, and that's basically how it started. And I'm like, what do you mean there's a spirit in this house? There's a spirit in this house. She's a woman, an old woman. She was like waving a stick, or she's very angry. She won't come into the bedroom where you're sleeping, but she's very angry. And I was like, wow, really? And then, all right, so then I'm thinking, like, funnily, I said, well, listen, when I leave the house, can you just tell her to do the friggin' laundry at least while I'm here, or do the dishes? Please get the dishes done when I leave. And I used to say, she'd go, don't, and she would say her name, started with an A.
No,
and I'd be like, no, don't say her name. And
never address a name.
I used to say, all right. So then one day, for the heck of it, I was going to pay my rent, and my landlord lived a few towns over. So I said to her, so-and-so, I said, was there an old woman that lived in this house that maybe passed away or anything like that? And she thought for a moment, and she was like, you know what? There was a girl whose mother or grandmother came to visit, and she died in the house. And I'm like, really? Like, seriously? And she's like,
I said the name.
And I go, does her name start with an A? And she was like, it was Abigail. And I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, really? So now I'm like, holy mackerel, like, she was right.
No,
wow.
And then she said about the stick outside.
Well, no, that was different. That was and then a few days later, I was taking out the garbage, and my neighbor said to me, we were just chatting at the street. We were talking about garbages or something like that, and the guy all of a sudden, out of the blue, goes, there was an old lady that used to live in this house that used to go through the garbage with a stick. And I went, what? Are you serious? And I was like,
so she was, boy, that's bigger than just a woman's intuition, I would say.
Wow.
Tom, let me ask you something. And Carrie, somebody's asking, I think it's Laura or Susanna asked, how long have you been married?
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a second marriage. I have 2 kids, and he has 3. When I married him, my children were a little bit older, but his children were
younger,
very young. They were very young, like 3,
2,
3, and 5, Aaron.
Something like that.
Yeah. And that's when I met him, and that's when we started to... Actually, we met on AOL Romance Room. We were an AOL couple.
Yeah, like when AOL used to have a chat room.
Right.
Yeah, I did. I met my husband on Match.
There you go.
So let's go back to that time when. So Tom, just were you open at that time to all of this? Would you say you were open, or would you say that she had to convince you?
I would say I was still skeptical at that time because she was right. She was right on the money, and I just kept saying, "Wow, that's pretty amazing." So we kept as we kept going, and our relationship kept growing. We got married, and
we got married in Vegas.
We got married in Vegas
at the Flamingo,
and we had.
So let me ask Carrie one question before we go into Vegas. Carrie, were you comfortable in sharing who you were at the time, or you didn't feel like you could come right out and say it?
Well, I always, with my ability, since I've had it since a child and came out at 14, I always never wanted to go against my children. And now Tom had 3 young ones. So I didn't want to progressively develop it and say, okay, here I am. So I guided everybody into it. And that's how I did it. And the guardians were always there with me constantly and saying, just go slow. Eventually it will happen. So, and it was very, very slow. I mean, Tom and I have been through a very tough road. I mean, it's a divorce situation. And my thing is, if you're going to be a stepmother to somebody's kids, you better do it all. If you're not going to do it all, don't do it at all. Okay?
Right.
I have 3 amazing
Right.
kids.
No, I'm a stepmother too, and they're just like my own.
Right.
I want to remind everybody out there, if you are listening, please sign into the chat. We'd love to have you part of the conversation there. When you see the little window next to the video, you'll see it says Nick. Just put your name in there, and so that we can have you part of our conversation, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat, and you can call in at 919-518-9773 and be able to ask Tom and Carrie some questions. So there's another question on the chat. And this is interesting because Suziani is asking, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is asking a question that kind of is sort of what I was looking to ask. And she wants to know, Tom, is there even a chance of you winning an argument? And my question was to Carrie as well, do you always feel right? And so if your spirit guides are talking to you and you have this information coming, do you always feel right? And Tom, can you ever be right?
Do you want to handle it, or do you want me to?
Well, does a man ever win an argument with a woman? That's the first question.
So she's to you, she's like any other woman.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, my
Okay.
God. Absolutely.
We fight like everybody else, people.
I certainly sometimes...
we are frustrated as
there's
heck with everyone.
only sometimes do I something when we argue, and I never mention her
Mom,
guardians.
but I always bring Mom. Well, I'll bring Mom. My mother-in-law passed away years ago, and she was my best friend. We did salsa lessons together. She was my ultimate everything. And sometimes when we're fighting, my mother-in-law comes to and says, Carrie, give him a break.
She says what, Carrie, what?
Give him a break.
Okay.
And then I back off a little bit. I'm like, okay, Mom, Mom, no problem. I call her Mom, no problem. But when she was suffering from cancer and she was dying, and we were at hospice, I knew when she was going to die, and she told me what she wanted and how she wanted it done. And she knew my ability. She believed in my ability, my mother-in-law. And we lay in bed together when she was dying, and she'd say, make sure that I said, you can always come through whenever. So she still does.
Oh, yeah, she still comes through all the time. Sometimes she comes through and I just say, look,
I
Mom,
even knew what Tom's bonus was this year. His mommy told us. So.
Yeah, she was spot on with my bonus.
Spot on.
So-
tell him.
So are you having fun? Are you having fun with this, and does that help?
Okay.
I mean, you got to look at it sometimes, Tom, in the situation you're in, because if she's got the edge, and how do you argue with that, or how do you debate it, or how do you say, no, I don't think you're right? How do you even think about even being right at any level? How does that work?
Well, I'm very stubborn.
Very.
And I'm an engineer.
Always.
So I will have to prove her sometimes to be incorrect. And then I'll tell her, I don't care what your guardians tell you or whatever. I think they're... be respectful, but I would always, we do argue, but we do have arguments where we win.
It's like a semi-normal marriage besides the psychic medium thing. My husband supports me. I mean, he didn't all the time, and he really realizes now how many people I hear. I guess because, let me just put it out there for everybody. We live in a nice townhouse, and all our kids are gone. And we live alone, and we spend every day together. Yeah. And the problem is that Tom goes on the road, and then he comes back and writes up reports for his work. And then I'm here in my office doing Skype readings, FaceTime, doing all my stuff, and then I roll out there and do all my, galleries or whatever. But sometimes, like with the homicide cases, he hears it. And I hear that click, 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 click. I know when my husband's typing, and I know what he isn't because I have a sharp ear. And then he listens to everything. And I think sometimes I actually amaze my husband at what I say and what I do. Because after I'm done with the reading and the homicide is done and we're going to go and do the next step, he comes in and he says, that was amazing. And it doesn't, this man, look at him. It takes a lot to amaze this man, okay? And if he just comes in and says, like, I can't believe that
only
happened.
Bruce amazes me.
Yeah, Bruce makes me cry. But whatever. But bottom line is that when we're doing our thing, and I work in my office, he has his office, he does hear. And he does know how many people I help and how many.
So does it only make you better at what you do because he's challenging you? Or how does that feel? I mean, I'm sure at times it gets frustrated because even for any of us, when we just know something to be just so true, and then somebody challenges us, it makes you kind of cuckoo. But when you have all this extra help and support telling you certain things, and then you have this engineer who's going to be somewhat in a box, and he wants the data, he wants the logic, he wants the proof.
Yeah.
And he's going to challenge you. Does it just make you better at what you do?
Right. It does. It challenges me.
It challenges you.
Yeah. Just recently, the challenge, I think that he keeps me on my toes. That's what my mother-in-law says to me all the time because she's, part of our life. But Tom, I think recently, how long now, as you really totally have dived into this, how long now?
Last couple of years.
Yeah. He's like...
Last 3 or 4 or 5 years.
He's dived in, and it was a big step for me to go public because I didn't want to put my kid's life in jeopardy. And I think that, Marilyn, I explained that to you, that I didn't want my career to jeopardize the future of our 5 kids.
I think the biggest part was when my mom passed away in 2004, Carrie had said before that she envisioned saw that my ex-wife, my father, and his new wife or girlfriend were going to walk through the funeral wake united front, arm in arm, and they were going to come in. She saw it, and I was like, that's impossible because my ex-wife is down the shore, my father's blah 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 blah, and when you know it, during the funeral,
boom. They walked.
I don't know. Halfway through the funeral, here they come, all 3 of them walking through the door,
arm in arm,
and I was like, "Oh my god!" That's when I probably said, "Wow, okay, I'm dealing with something that's beyond my realm of logic."
So you also, is it rubbing off on you?
No, I couldn't see a spirit if it hit me right in the ass. To be honest with you,
nothing. Not even color. Everybody has. I think everybody has a gift. So
she woke me up one night in the middle of the night. Some girl had just committed suicide, I think, and she was right in front of Carrie, I guess.
Oh, I saw her veins
from a
pulsate.
Dead sleep.
Right.
Even though we sleep with the lights on in the.
You have to always have a light on when you sleep.
Slept with a light on, and she's like, she woke me up out of a dead sleep. She's like, "Don't you see her? She's right there. She's right there." And I'm like, "Who?" And she's like, "So and so. She killed herself." And she's. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't see nothing. So just tell her I'm going to bed. I turned over, and that was it.
I have dead time from 2 to 4. Last night was very, very rough, dead time, because I'm dealing with a case right now that a woman, Lisa, that had gotten killed and shot. And I had her all night, barely all the time with me, and we're dealing with that right now. But dead time for me is like everybody comes in, and that's, they say who they are and what's going on. It's like 2 to 4, and he just is like, all right, just go for it. And Tom has learned to just turn around and go to sleep, and I just do what I do.
There's only one time I think I've ever had something appear to me while I was sleeping, and I swear to God, it was when we were having a conversation about you being the psychic medium.
Correct.
And I remember one night I woke up out of a dead sleep, and this is no lie. There was something floating above me, some women figure. She was laughing at me, and she was like,
must have been his conscience
floating over me. And no, I mean, it was so real. I was actually reaching for it, trying to, and every time I reached for it, it kept moving up a little higher,
like a challenge.
And I could not grab it, but yet that's probably the only time that it really freaked me out.
Well, because I mean, everybody has gifts. Everybody has some kind of gift if they tapped into it. And so I'm just wondering, you see, Tom, you could, you laugh about some of this, but I really think, first of all, knowing how much you support Carrie in her show and how, you want her to keep doing this, you're out there tweeting for her, you're out there doing Facebook for her, you very much support her gift.
I do. I spend a lot of time.
Why do you support it?
Working, probably on the weekends and at night.
Why do you support
it?
I support Carrie because I realize now that she's a truly amazing psychic medium, and she could be one of the best out there in the whole world. I mean, she's been told that from people that have had other psychics. Like, she just did a recent show, Beyond the Edge of Reality, and the host of that show said point blank.
Yeah, I'm on that tonight.
I've seen mediums, had them on my show come and go, and your wife is probably one of the most gifted, talented medium psychics I've ever had on the show. Mm-hmm. And he's said over 400 mediums he's had on the show.
But I'm not looking for that, Marilyn. I'm not looking for the fame. I mean, it would be nice, but I'm just looking for as many people as I can help. And I want to, for the ailment, last week's show, I just solved her case. I solved her ailment like that. Mm-hmm. That's what the Guardians do. And Tom, every week he's in chat with me. It gets bigger for him because the support. I think if everybody sees this as a united front,
right,
we can make this happen.
Well, I think that when it's something positive, and you can get it by osmosis. Everybody's part of it. I mean, he has his part. Everybody has their part, and it's very important. And Tom's a feeling kind of guy, and this is this is a way that he gets to support and serve people. Just Chris put out here a quote that she just found, and she doesn't know who said it, but it's this: "True love is like a psychic experience. Everyone tells ghost stories, but few have ever seen a ghost."
Thank you, we have not.
So, okay. So you're very supportive.
Yes.
You really help her, do her thing. Yes. Where does that leave you? How do you feel? I mean, do you feel like you're second? Do you feel like? How do you feel?
No, I feel blessed that Carrie has such an ability that she's able to help people. I think, when I just watching her or listening to her sometimes do readings, whether it's Skype or even on the show, when she brings someone to tears, she'll look over and I'll be crying, I'll be tearing, and she'll look at me and I'm like, that's just so emotional. That is just unbelievable. When you bring someone to tears, and she's very comforting when she does her readings. It's very astonishing. I'm actually so proud of her that I'm just like, wow. it really does. I'm a very emotional guy. I cry at movies. I cry at Bruce Springsteen concerts. And that's
something that's really okay. And we need more. We need more big, mushy, strong, big, mushy teddy bear men out there.
Yeah.
Supporting us very strong women.
we go out. She'll go like that commercial, like this. Dee and Tom cry at a Bruce Springsteen concert.
I always post that. I said, being at a Bruce Springsteen concert, going into Jungle Land, Bruce in front of us, standing in GA for 12 hours. I want to kill him and strangle him to death. And then he just belt out like this. And he starts crying hysterically. That's his comfort zone.
Yes.
So,
go, even when I drive her to her readings sometimes over the weekends, we'll listen to E Street Radio.
Yeah, on the weekend.
And if a Bruce song comes up that's like on the radio, well, obviously it's all we listen to. Well, when she gets a chance.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, we're going to remind everybody out there, come on, give us a call. 919-518-9773. Come on, give us a call, ask your questions. Surely you're very curious about some things. And even the teeniest, tiniest little question about their life is impactful. So give us a call so we can hear who you are and what you want to know, because it's really important. We're taking calls. And also, if you will make sure to put your name on that little line that's next to the video, it says Nick, then you can enter into the chat, because there's all kinds of things and interesting comments and things going along in there that you're not being a part of, and you're missing out on it. So make sure you put your name there. Here's a phone call. See? Perfect.
All right.
All right, ready? Are you ready? Tom, Carrie, you ready for it? Okay. Hello.
Hi, Marilyn. This is Christine.
Hey, Christine.
Hey, Christine.
I have a question. Hi, guys. I have a question for Tom.
Okay. Good.
Okay, Tom. Have you ever been freaked out by what Carrie has said, and how?
Oh, Christine's with the 7 things going through her ceiling.
Did you hear it?
Yes. Have I ever been freaked out?
No, freaked.
Oh, freaked out.
Yeah, freaked out. Like scared out of what?
Literally scared out of your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, when Carrie's ex-husband had passed away not too long ago.
No,
and
last year.
And we were driving on Route 78 coming home from Pennsylvania from an event. I think dinner. And I'm driving, and she basically is like saying, no, I don't want to talk to you right now. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, Anthony's here. And I said, well, what does he want? And she's like, well, he wants to talk to Stephanie, which is our daughter. And I'm like, tell him that she's not here.
Who is Anthony?
My ex-husband.
Okay.
My daughter's father.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess he had passed away.
He died of a massive heart attack when he was only 42 years old.
And he was so adamant with Carrie that he wanted to speak to Stephanie, and Stephanie was not with us. And
and they didn't have a very close relationship. He had left when I was 6 months pregnant and really didn't see her at all through her life. So
saw her a couple times when she was older.
Very, very, not much.
So, okay, to make a long story short, it was basically what happened was
he jumped me.
He literally, the spirit jumped right into her. As much as she tried not for the spirit to jump into her, because she's had spirits jump into her before, all of a sudden, I just looked over at her, and it wasn't even Carrie. Her eyes were a different color. Her voice changed. And she was like, or the voice was like, Tom, I want to speak to Stephanie. And that's basically when I was like, whoa. And I was driving, and I was like ready to just put the car in park and just run right the hell out of the car. I was just going to, I was like, but I know to at least say things. She's taught me to say things like, be gone. There's certain things that I started saying Hail Mary, saying prayers, and you know what? I mean,
you got any garlic or onion?
But the best part, Mare, was that
I had a crucifix from my baptism, confirmation, always hanging in my car, always.
And it was
and he basically swiped it and took it.
And mommy's
and my mother's death card was always in my car.
Right, he took that.
Took that. It's gone out of my car.
Right.
Took because they could take things with them to the other side.
They could take possessions. Yeah.
And
I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically just I kept myself. I thought she was gonna like attack me, and I was afraid I was gonna crash the car. I really did. I mean, this was not a nice person.
So by the time we got home, and we settled in.
Well, Carrie finally jumped out of Carrie.
Right, thank God. Yeah. And then we got home, and he was so worried about the crucifix and Mommy's funeral thing that he kept in his car. My mother-in-law's. When we came home, the funeral card was right on his computer when we got home.
It was in my room.
Wow.
It was on my computer.
Right.
Wow.
And we never had the Rosemaries.
And
he took the Rosemaries.
And I went into the house first.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so it wasn't like she got into the house and put it there.
No.
I got in there first.
Yeah.
And that really freaked me out. But then and then he hung around the house for a few days.
Oh my God, yeah.
He wouldn't leave us alone.
Not at all.
Oh my God.
Well, he was feeling really
because
like
I felt the coldness, and I didn't feel the cold. I mean, it was cold. The windows it was like 70, 80 degrees.
It got like 30 degrees in my house, and you saw his handprint on
the
all the windows.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you, Carrie? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have another question?
No, that was
that good
most
enough?
Curious question.
That was a great question. Thank you for asking that question. That was great.
That's my girl.
Thanks,
That's my
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, Chris. Thank you.
So what was it like to have that being inside of you? Did you know it? Were you aware of it? Was it?
No, I never know when they jump me, and it's rare. But when somebody like that does, when it goes away, I really don't know much.
She's exhausted by the time, like when
he
it finally
puts me to
leaves.
bed, and he says, "Do you know what happened?" I'm like, "No." And in the morning, I'm like, "Let's just make coffee and let's just talk about what happened." It's a really odd life.
It's got to be very odd. But Carrie, you need, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of men in this world you could have been with. But there's a reason you and Tom obviously are together. I mean, there's not a lot of men that would have the sense of humor, even, as he does, because you have to have a sense of humor to live with you.
This is very true.
And vice versa, I'm sure. But Carrie, it's intense.
Oh, big time. Nobody knows what goes behind. That's why I like reality. Putting a reality show in here would be quite a blast.
Well, the entertainment lawyer we had seen one.
We had seen one, and he
said I was camera ready though.
Yeah, whatever. But he just loved our personality, and we're so opposite. And I guess that's what kind of makes it happen is that he does his thing, I do. At the end of the day, when we're sitting there at the end of the day and we're eating dinner, how was your day? Well, I went on this inspection. I saw this place. I'm like, how was your day? Well, I had 3 ghosts, 1 spirit, 1. It's like just an unbelievable conversation. He's like, well, how did it work out for you? And it's like, well, how? And then we just end the day, and it's like natural now. It's like natural. And
so, do you feel safe, Carrie, with him?
Yeah, now I do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, now I do. Yeah,
so being able to have these experiences and having somebody like that, like him, that you can feel safe with, is it making you?
I taught him.
Huh?
I taught him. There was a point where he wouldn't know what to do, and I've taught. I don't know. Taught. What's the word?
Well, no,
you shared with him.
Right. If something happens like that, you need to say this, and this, and go forward. And he's done it. He's manned up, and he's done it. I mean, it's just, it can get real weird.
Yeah, because a couple of times, like my mother would come through, and she would talk to me through Carrie, and then her mother would come through, and her mother and I didn't really have the greatest of relationships.
No, they hated each other.
And then when her mother came through, she was really, really evil or mad.
She hated your guts.
And I can't even tell you how many times I had to.
Tom, if my mother said she got cancer,
I smacked you a couple of times.
Yeah, you smacked me twice.
Because I had to get her out of you.
Right.
Because she was jumped by her mother?
Yeah, because my mother hated his guts.
So she even hates his guts now?
Oh, yeah. And she hates that I'm with him. So, I mean, my mother has to deal with it. She's on the other side, and she's cool right now, and she's in a better place, thank God. Bless you. And, but when my mother found out she had terminal cancer and had, like, months to live, she said, well, why don't I go buy a gun and just kill him? And then I said, no, Ma, that's not right, because she had brain cancer, so she was not right. But this is the stuff we deal with, this crazy stuff, you know? And then we have 5 wonderful kids.
So how do they respond to all of this?
Are gifted, right?
Oh my God, my son's
Emily.
My oldest, my son's 21, Christopher. He's extremely gifted, like I am. He's learning, and Emily, my daughter. I can't say step because I hate that word, but she's not my biological daughter. She's his daughter, but she's my daughter.
She sees ghosts.
Right.
She sees them all the time.
She does see ghosts?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And
Now-
she's so into this.
So she's so into this. So that's another reason you're in this family, is to help her, because being so young, I guess, as well as it was for you, it's hard to be like coming out of the closet.
Last year we stayed in this, like, one of the 4th oldest homes in Wildwood for a week.
Oh, it was torture.
And it was so haunted.
It was torture.
I had no problems. But
you never have problems.
But my daughter, Emily wanted to sleep,
my daughter and I
like,
wanted to
between
kill
us
each
all
other.
the time.
Yeah, and Emily's like, she's like, they never call me Mom. I'm not their mother. I'm their stepmother. Stepmothers are the best friends ever. But Emily didn't want to stay in her room because her room obviously was the portal. Portals mean people that's where spirits come through.
Uh-huh.
So when you're with a portal and you're in a room with a portal, wacky crap happens. And she kept on telling me, I'm like, So Emily and I actually, after that time, got even closer because she knew what it was like to be like me. She's like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know. How do you do this? I said, years ago, the spirit world used to come as they are, meaning how they got killed, how they died. But now with my meditation, and I have a great mentor from when I was 14, I have as they are now. And I see them like they come back and they're like in their 30s or 40s, they changed over, and that's how they come to me. But years ago, like Em is seeing, like my daughter's seeing, and my son's seeing as they are, how they got killed, and God forbid they got shot.
So it's your daughter. It's your daughter, Tom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And whose son did you say?
Mine.
So you have one of each of yours. So
Right.
is that like in every family, or is that just your family?
That's my family.
I mean, do you think that there's one of everybody's kids that can do this? Is that the law of averages?
We do know a lot of, ever since we started networking with a lot of the paranormal and the
Right.
psychic medium
there's
people.
a lot of people
Apparently
that
they have a
families.
lot of families that are family
And
members
kids,
that
yes.
have the gift of the ability. Yeah.
Right, they do.
Seems like
So
it.
more and more, probably.
Hey, Tom.
Okay, Amnon's got a question. Hold on.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? This is the question of the night.
Do you ever wonder who's watching when you guys are in the bedroom?
Oh, stinker face. I told you I didn't want that question asked. What a stinker. My own producer.
We put a curtain up, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shield.
They can
There's
see
no
through a
goes on
curtain.
in the bedroom.
They can see through a curtain.
They do have times where Carrie just tells them to just, we need private time. Be
Yeah.
gone.
And do they go away?
I don't sense or feel them. No, yeah, it's called private time.
But even
and
somebody who's not, let's
Nice.
say somebody who's not nice, your ex-husband or somebody like that, do they listen?
sometimes no. No,
So-
and then it's banishment. We have to do a banishment, and I know how to do all that. So.
Okay, so there's always, like, there can always be somebody, another I, another being living with you,
Right.
or walk. I mean, what about when you go to the bathroom? You know, when my father, honestly, when my father died, I was uncomfortable even, like sometimes
Like
going
showering?
to the bathroom because I felt like he was watching me.
Right. I've had that when I was younger, but I know that they give what is called courtesy.
They do.
Well, I do remember the time that I was sleeping in a location where I felt somebody was like breathing on me.
Correct. That was your second experience,
Yeah.
Tom? Huh?
Okay,
Want to
so,
elaborate?
huh?
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out.
Which
Tom's
one?
going to elaborate now.
I forgot about the time where I had somebody actually, like, felt like somebody was breathing over me, and apparently the man had passed away, and I was. This was again while we were dating, and the people were so nice they left their bed for me.
Yeah, but the guy died
in the bed. So she ended up making me get rid of it.
You got to get rid of the bed, man.
Wow.
Because the guy was over constantly, and they try to jump. If they're not happy or they've had incomplete session where they're not into to go to the light, they're gonna jump. And Tom's accessible. Look at him; he's accessible to jump into.
Yeah. All right, Tom. So can you keep secrets from her?
No, not really.
Not really.
No. Maybe if I go like on a business trip, she'll be like, I can't even be naughty, so it's not even bother anymore.
Okay, all right. Well, that was one.
Guys want to go out somewhere. They say, "Hey, let's go to this club or let's do this."
That's not
happening. I tried it one time, and she
caught you, huh?
No, I called them. I said, "Where are you?
So where are you?" I'm like, she goes, "No, you're not." Where's your girl?
So she knows. Okay, so you need that kind of woman in your life, Tom.
I guess.
So do you wear PJs, both of you?
Huh?
I wear shorts to bed. I don't really wear PJs.
Okay.
I wear pajamas.
So you wear pajamas. Okay. I want to ask you another question. So I don't know if this is for you, Carrie, or this is for Tom, but I think
our dogs are spiritual.
both of you. What? Are you looking at your watch?
Our dogs are spiritual.
Your dogs are spiritual.
Yeah, my Billy sees everything.
The beagle.
Really?
Yeah, he watches all of it. You see his head go back and forth like this all the time, and then he
Really?
gets spooked, and his hair goes up, and yeah, it's weird.
So
it's like then
they what?
Then you got to like smudge and banish the house, and then it goes away. So
yeah, I would imagine.
You have a little boy in this house at one time.
At one time, we had a little boy in this house, but he came in through I had done a reading, and a woman had several miscarriages and lost a son, and then apparently he was need to go to the light, and then he wound up following me home, and I had him in my house for several days, so I needed to show him the light. So, and my dogs were like following this little kid all over the place, like
really.
Oh my God. Yeah, you would hear him running around the house, and you would hear him and knock 3 times. You know that song, "Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you." But knock 3 times means spirit. Everybody, just
okay.
So you know.
All right. So listen. So if you were not sensitive to any of this, would you still be seeing her being taken over, Tom or Carrie? If somebody's not sensitive and open to who you are, would they be able to see what you're doing?
But he wasn't.
That's what I mean. So when he wasn't, he still could see it. He could still.
Right.
Okay.
Well, something jumps and turns my eyes color. I mean, my eyes are blue as day.
Right.
And they turn to brown, and my voice changes to a man.
Right.
I mean, any mortal, I called him mortal, okay, would know there's something going on here that's not right. And that's what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, everybody out there, you are welcome to call in. Yeah, give her the number.
919-518-9773.
Yes.
Why don't you call in? What's up? What's up? Everybody said they're coming in the show tonight. You want all these freaking questions. They email me all the time. This is your opportunity. It'll never happen. It won't happen for a long time.
Yeah, come on. We had to wait a long time to do this.
Hell yeah.
And
yeah,
so
I started on Marilyn's show.
Yes, you did. And we had to wait a long time to do this. And this just came up because of how it worked out. So this is an opportunity to really get an understanding of not just of a psychic and her husband, but about how a couple work together in an extraordinary kind of situation.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort. Well, your work dominates, doesn't it? Your work is big, Carrie.
Yeah, my work is big. It's going big. It's really doing well. But I think my husband's work and what he does, he's a brainiac. I mean, he graduated from Rutgers. He's Dean's List. He's like this brain is a brainiac, okay? So his intellectual thinking about, I think it took him all these years to figure it out because he couldn't understand how somebody could be so screwed up, he used to say. How could you like, are you serious, Carrie?
Is he talking about you being screwed up?
Yeah. I mean, years ago, he used to say to me, are you whacked out? Is there something wrong with you? Because I used to tell him, like, don't do this, don't do that. And this would come true. And he'd be like, what? And then it would happen. Right. And then eventually, he started to listen. It took years to listen.
Right. Well, he had to get out of his head.
Well, the engineer's in a box.
All right, we got a question, so hold on to that thought. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, who's this?
Susiani.
Hey, there's our new friend. How you doing, honey?
I'm doing good. I think everybody is so mesmerized by them, what they're talking about, that your questions just leave your head as soon as they come in.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
wanted.
That's
My
'cause we
question
already know
is:
the answers.
can anybody lie to Carrie Ann?
Has anybody lied to her?
No. Can anybody?
Oh, can
get away
anybody
with it?
lie to you?
They've tried in readings. A lot of times I have, I work on a lot of cases. I guess I could put it out there. I work with a lot of women versus men and men versus women cheaters. They hire me, and instead of hiring a private investigator, they have sessions with me, and I know already. My guardians tell me where they are, and they get up the records, and we go over everything together. It's called the sessions. That's a little bit of a hidden thing I do, and I can get you like that. And it happens, and that's they hire me. I do investigations that way.
Yeah, she does.
Well,
So,
what about
and-
her
and what
children?
about-
Can her children get away with lying?
Yeah, your children.
No, they never. Well,
They never do.
Never.
No.
Never.
I'm so upset with that.
What
part.
about other, like in everyday life? I mean, can you be deceived, or can you be, I mean, you are a human
Well, I
having
know
a
that,
human
but-
experience, and then you're this other, I don't know what you call you other than a psychic and a medium, but you're a human having this experience, talking to, your guides and other people's guides. So, in the human part of you,
Right.
can you be deceived?
I would say you have been, because you
Yes, I
let
have.
your guard down, and the guardians could tell you one thing, and sometimes you even refuse
Right.
Yes, I do.
to listen to
To the
them.
gu-
I have
Okay.
to believe my
and when she
kids.
listens to them,
I have
doesn't
5
listen to
kids.
them,
I
she'll
kick myself in my butt.
Yeah, she'll say, you know what? I should have listened to my whatever,
Right.
my
But
guardians.
I think it's a lesson of life. Like,
and
I
she
think
likes
that.
to just take control over the conversation too.
Well, I think, Susiana, this is a great way to talk about this. Because I think we all have lessons. No matter who we are, no matter what our work, no matter where we are on this planet and what our purpose is, we're all going to have lessons. And
Right.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah,
I
what?
think she has the edge there, even if only because people know who she is, and they'd be afraid to lie to her because they figure that the guardians would say to her, "Don't listen to them; they're lying."
Well, you know, the funny thing is,
yeah.
a lot of people still don't believe in psychic mediums. I can
Yeah.
tell you right now.
I get challenged all the
She
time.
gets challenged all the time, and even like when I bring it up, she was at a reading not too long ago, or the husband. I took her to the reading. It was a Saturday, and the husband was in his
with the
garage
dog, the first dog.
working, doing his
Right.
chores,
In
cutting his
Milford,
wood.
New Jersey.
And he was just so totally did not believe anything, but he was okay with her going into the house, and said, well, by the time the hour was up and I got his ear for a complete hour, he was a true believer.
He was.
He
And they're
was.
booked a reading for next week, too.
Yeah, so
So
Oh.
it just takes somebody.
I do help her that way.
Yeah, you do.
I do support her, and then I tell them all the stories that I'm telling now. I tell them on to people.
Well, you're believable, too, because you are this kind of, teddy bear, geeky, engineering person. But what does that even mean?
Never geeky.
Okay.
Always-
Okay, but what does it even mean? It really doesn't mean. I mean, we put labels on things and define them, but when you take a look, it really doesn't. Those things don't exist. Susiana, do you have another question?
No, but I agree with you. But he doesn't seem like what he does for a living.
Exactly.
He's not the typical stereotype of that.
Right.
But he's so easygoing, and you could just see that smile on his face.
Right. Well, it's true.
He's got a little bit of an edge. I think that when I met him, he was really a stuffy. He was a cheap man. Okay.
Never.
Yeah, he was a
No.
Christian man. He was an amazing father. He's always been an amazing father.
Taught
He still
Sunday
is.
school.
He taught Sunday school.
8th grade.
All right, whatever, Tom. You want to go? But bottom line is that he, with me, and what we took on together with 5 kids was a hell of a journey. And then throw this crap into the mix. I mean, that was amazing. And I put myself on the shelf and did it on the side. I call myself the closet psychic for years. I did that and sold cars. So I would do my thing on, like, he'd be like, all right, I'm going on a reading. And be like, all right, fine. Then I go, like, after I'm done, like 60 hours a week, I would go and do readings because that was my passion.
You gotta slap your hand.
I'm sorry.
Like
Well, Amna didn't yell at me.
Yeah, what? Don't whisper to each other because I'm psychic. I'm hearing it.
I'm sorry.
I'm only kidding.
Good. What'd you say?
Well,
Marilyn's going to coach us.
What I was saying was also, she's right. I don't fit the typical mold of an engineer. I mean, I'm a heavy Led Zeppelin fan and a Bruce fan and been over
We heard that
100 Bruce concerts, and I'm like, not your typical guy engineer, but I remember one time I did bring Carrie when we were younger when we were together to a place I had to do a place in New York before this job I have now, and it was a Saturday, and it was Hogs and Heifers, which is the most like famous biker bar like in New York City. And here I am going like into the inspection with the clipboard, and we're like getting very like 10 feet from the place for 20 feet, and Carrie's seeing like all the bikers out in the front of the place, and Carrie's like, you may want to leave the clipboard like in the car.
Yeah, they would have bet the hell out of you.
So we ended up going in there together, like just like two people. And not even like knowing I was doing the inspection.
But they would have bet him up.
And I won a couple of shots because the bartender, I asked her if she thought I had a tattoo or not. And she said, no way do you have a tattoo.
It's a normal life. We do this about hot dogs. I do the barbecue. Yeah, I do the barbecue. I mean, it's like everybody asks the questions, like the emails, like, do you live a normal life? Absolutely. Everybody pulls out a hat when they were little. Who wants dinner? We were feeding 5 kids, so every day was like, who wants different dinner? So I would get a hat and put each meal in it, and they would pick about meals. I mean, they would fist fight over meals, like who wanted stew, who wanted macaroni. But the bottom, how many times were at baseball games? I mean, it was always normal.
Well, I want to ask you something though. So you could have not even asked that question and just known what they wanted. So how did you know to ask?
Because
Susiana, do you like that question?
Yes, you're asking everything I'd ask. Go
okay,
ahead.
so you're from New York?
Long Island originally, but not in 40 years.
Well, you haven't lost the accent.
I know.
I know, me either. All right, hold on. So let's get the answer to this question because both Susiana and I both want to know the answer.
Well, I wanted to make everything normal. And I wanted to make, the kids were in a divorce and my kids were in a new marriage, and I always wanted everything to be normal, not like psychic. So that's why I did everything. And every birthday, it was the whipped cream with the pie in the face.
Yeah, but also because we stayed within 10 minutes of
yeah,
my
I
kids
always made sure that I was stability. I wanted stability. The roller coaster shouldn't be like this. I love my kids. Everything should be this way.
So how do you I'm not saying cross over from one to the other and know which is normal. How do you know that that's normal to ask them and not to rely on, because on some level, I'm going to rely on my intuition, whether it's not my spirit guides maybe, or but when do you not do it?
You be a mother. I knew that when I met Tom and he had 3 young kids that I had a horrible stepmother when I grew up, but I had to be the best I could be, and everything had to be normal. And I knew that even though I knew the guardians were telling me the crap that they were doing, and when they were doing it, I had to make sure that it always stayed normal due to the ex-wife. I had to make sure that everything stood like this. And it brings us to be who they are now. And they're amazing. Mm-hmm. We have 5 amazing kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, God blessed us with amazing children. Mm-hmm. So, as far as being a psychic, now they got it. I asked them, is it okay if I go public? I was very honest with them. And they've known they've known what I've done. They've known. I mean, we used to joke about it when they were younger, But now, it's real.
Now it's
now,
real.
I'm helping. Now they know I'm helping. I'm seriously helping people, and they know that like health and well-being.
Right.
And
Okay, so Susanna, you got another question?
Oh, yeah, I just thought of another one.
All right, give us one more. One more.
Just one more.
Okay.
Okay. Does she know what's wrong with her kids and her, like, health-wise without having to go to a doctor? Can she diagnose them
Did you
the way
diagnose
she
your
does that for
yeah.
other people?
Did you do
Well,
that?
she's diagnosed me many times.
Oh,
I
you're
know what's
easy.
wrong with him all the time.
You're easy,
I-
but what about the kids?
Oh yeah,
You
I know
did. You
myself.
diagnosed, and you trusted yourself.
Oh, absolutely. And then I took
Okay.
him to get my son was born with ADD and ADHD, and I knew that. My daughter was born; she had mono. At the age of 7, I took her to the hospital, and I knew she had mono, Epstein-Barr, and a large spleen. And I told them, and they were looked at me like I had 3 heads, and that was happening. I knew that my daughter's knee problems, Emily, had issues to be done, and we had to address it immediately, and we did it. And not just being with him, but his medical condition, yeah. And if a doctor would actually consider taking a psychic or a medium on, the world would be a better place.
I don't think the
Yeah.
world's ready for that.
Yeah?
I don't know if the world's ready for that yet.
How many
So-
people I've helped live already?
Right.
That-
Oh, well, it's probably very true. Anyway,
And they could
Suzanne-
call it Carry Care.
Yeah, really, Carry Care. That's a good one. That's a good one, Carry Care. Thank you
All
so
right, I'm
much,
gonna,
honey,
I'm gonna
for
hang
calling.
up now, but
Yes, stay in
I'm
touch.
enjoying the show, and I
Yes.
hope other people call in and
Thank
ask
you.
questions.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
you.
Lindsley I've known Tom since at least the 5th grade. Is that Lindsley? Is that a man or a woman?
5th grade?
Huh?
5th grade?
I don't know. From something Lindsley, Lyndley. I've known Tom since at least the 5th grade. Man or
Okay.
woman? You don't know? Maybe you can
that-
tell us.
Corona's in the house.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're almost there, out of time. I have one question to Tom. Now that you've been through all of this, or you're going through it, and your life is certainly exciting, what's next? Is there anything special that's next for you, or that you want for yourself and your life?
I really would like for our future, and for Carrie's ability and gift to really go viral. She should be out there with the greatest of people. Psychic mediums like I don't want to mention
No,
names,
don't
but she's just as good, if not better, or she has that ability. So I think right
We wanna
now
help as many people
I would
as
want to help as many people.
And
Really.
you're into that.
Ellie.
That's what you want for your life too.
Carrie loves to just talk for me too.
All right. And so Tom, Carrie, Tom,
Yeah.
shush,
Yeah.
Tom. This is your time. This is your moment. Is that what you want for yourself? Is to support Carrie in helping as many people as she possibly can?
Yeah, I do. That's
Okay.
what I want. I mean, because I love my job. My job is great. I love my job. Love the company I work for right now, and I love doing what I do because what I do is important too in the world. I help
Absolutely.
project loss potential, earthquake, flood, and wind, and hurricanes and stuff like that. So
That's a big deal.
Sprinklers protect lives, protect people.
He's amazing at what he does.
So I in a sense, I do help people.
He's
too,
my hero.
But she has something that is a gift from God and the angels, and it's something that not everybody, or a lot of people do have, but haven't been able to channel it the way she does.
Right.
And so this for her to do it, and for me to be part of it. I would love, down the road if she's well known and famous, where she's helping people.
Not if.
Or when.
Yes.
When?
It's that's a frustrating thing because she's so amazing. She even has people say to her all the time, "Why are you not like on
All the
TV? Or why are you not? You're so good." And I just sit there and I do the same thing. I'm like her biggest fan myself, although she's gathering a lot of people.
Yeah, but you're a special fan.
Yes,
You're special.
Yes.
And so I want to, okay, so we have like a minute left, and I just want you to know that Lindsley has a daughter, Ashley. You know who that is? Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I know a Lindsley that was in college with me. It was my fraternity brother, but I don't know.
Okay. So Lindsley, knows that you're going to be on another show. So you can tell everybody that so they'll know that you're on another show right after this. And I want to just say that this has been a really fun night. Our show is usually Monday nights at 8 o'clock, so please join us for the Breaking Free show. Carrie's show is on Sunday nights, usually at 8 o'clock. And then tell them where you're going to be next.
Well, if everybody tuned in tonight, they get a free reading at Beyond the Edge of Reality. And they can tune in at 10 p.m. and Eastern Time. And I will take their call because they chatted and they came into the Breaking Free show. And Marilyn Shannon is I love her. I love her. She's amazing.
I share her with Tom.
And then
tell everybody how to get there.
Yeah.
You have to go to Beyond the Reality.
I know it's on Facebook, Beyond the Edge of Reality. If you look it up on Facebook, he has all the links on Facebook.
Right.
Perfect.
And if you just Google it, it does show up like Paranormal
but they
Talk
have a blog.
Radio.
They have to. You can hear it, and then you have to go in the chat room. It's not like my show, everybody. So it's different.
It's like radio, not a picture. Okay,
so and also, she's also going to be on Mike and the Morph show.
Right. On
the 28th.
And then the 30th is Ghost Chat Radio.
So she's getting out there.
All right. Now, Lindsley has said, tell him Lynn.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yay, we got it. How many names you got, Lindsley?
I'm not the psychic one, okay?
All right, good. Okay, so just to reiterate, if you were here tonight on the Breaking Free show and you tune into the next show that Carrie's on, she will give you a free reading. So anybody out there, remember that she will give you a free reading, and absolutely. And so remember,
They have to go back to the Breaking Free show next week.
Yes, and absolutely, just keep coming back and visiting us. We've got all kinds of great shows on. Amnon is on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock on computers on this same channel, Computers 2K Now. He does a computer show, and he's got a slew of hosts, and oh my God, no telling what they're going to talk about. And Debbie Bruck is our homeopath. She's brilliant. She's on Mondays at 11 a.m. And Julie Seibert is on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And she has a show called Reawaken Your Brilliance, which she will do. And we are all terrific, and you're all terrific. And we're so happy to have you all here. And we look forward to seeing you again. And Carrie and Tom, mwah! Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Breaking Free.
Breaking Free. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health Inn with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 till 9 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by thatvidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.